know, farming looks easy, except for before you can spend a half an hour planting, you gotta spend 3 days fixing the planter every year, because even though we tried to keep the mice out of it, the mice got into it, and now the actuator isn't working, but he's looks like he's adjusting the planter boxes.
This is what you're going to run into, you so-called pro staff people. You're going to be out in the field plotting and real bow hunting. It ain't all about smiley white teeth and what you're doing with your bow as you parade around an archery shop. This is a rat's nest that you're going to have to deal with.
Well, we never did get the actuator to work, but we decided that we didn't really need it. We can do it manually, and then we're going to take it and get it rebuilt and leave it in the house, and then next spring it should work.
Yeah, what you're looking at here is either stupidity, old age, or something. But to do food plots right, $1,878.79. Now that's a little high-end food plot, and I don't expect everybody to do it. Some people probably can't afford that, myself included. But in reality you can, because the money you're going to pee away $1 tea, probably $3 or $4 a day, a pack of cigarettes, $6. You add all that up in a year, you got the same amount of money. I'm going to throw this on the ground, and all you do is pee on the ground, so it's the same money going the same place. But that's what you need, and I'm going to show you when we get down to the farm a little more on this power plant. So I'm going to show you something, folks. There's a price on that. There's your beer, there's your cigarettes, your beer. That's your habit. This fertilizer is my habit. Same money. It's just different priorities. Like I said, people say they don't have the money, but I see them standing in line spending that much for a pack of cigarettes, that much for a 12-pack of beer. The late Willie Succi stated that he used every hour of the day for productivity. Well, same way with money. Try to use your money in every venue you can to make something happen, positive. Alright, today we're going to plant some power plant, soybeans, and corn. I tried to do all the planting at once. I wish I had had some corn done earlier, but that's just the way it is. But make sure when you're planting power plant, right here, it's got to be 65 degrees temperature-wise, day and night. That temperature in that soil has got to be at least that warm. So don't get ahead of yourself. Another thing about power plant, on the back here, if you do not have a soil test, they require you to recommend to you that you apply 400 pounds per acre of triple 13. That's what this represents, 50-pound bags, 8 of them. So for you guys that think you're going to do it on the cheap, you're going to get results, but they're not going to be near as good as what they could be. That's why it's important to get the soil test. Now with that said, our soil test came back to where we needed 186 pounds of nitrogen, 149 pounds of phosphorus, and 193 pounds of potassium per acre. That's a lot of triple 13, folks, but that's what it takes. Each one of these bags is $22. 22 times 8, what would that be, $176 for your fertilizer. I think it's around $60 for your power plant. So you're $250, $230, $250 in that range. That's to plant one bag of Whitetail Imperial power plant. This, I want to emphasize, this is how much fertilizer it takes. This is a nitrogen consumer. It's just like the movie, the plant that grew and it was feed me now. That is this monster. Grows high protein, grows a lot of forage, but it takes a lot of nutrients out of the ground. That's why it's important to get it limed like we did. Get that soil to where this fertilizer won't shed just like the dry rag with the dry lime. You want that fertilizer to be absorbed into that root system because you've got a lot of money. Like I said, one bag of power plant will plant 3/4 to 1 acre. Recommended without a soil test, 400 pounds of triple 13. And I see a lot of guys, and I commend you for your effort, don't take me wrong. But if you're not doing that, you're going to come up short. Your crop's going to suffer, and you're not going to get the results. And as you've seen in the video, I have a total of $1,878.79 worth of fertilizer and seed on this truck. And I showed you at the convenience store that you spend that much money unknowingly by blowing smoke out your nose and pissing beer. So my piss and my smoke are right here. I do the same thing with my money. I just get it at a different venue. So take it as it is. That's back jack. Ain't no cutting around corners. We're going to spend money foolishly, whether it's in cigarettes, booze, or fertilizer. That same amount of money is going to get spent. And that's why I detest when people talk about a poor man's food plot. Most of those people that talk about poor man's food plots are riding around on $15,000 four-wheelers. That's not exactly poor man to me. Anyhow, lots of fertilizer, folks. Lots of fertilizer and lots of hard work. And it's worth every dime of it, even if you don't kill anything. Because like I've always said, I'm not planting these to kill anything. I'm planting these to grow. I could care less. If I know the animals are coming onto my property, they're going to leave just as well as they come. But the more times they frequent it, the more reward I get out of getting them on camera and whatever. It's not about killing on this channel. Killing is secondary, totally secondary, especially with the white-tailed deer. They're all over the state of Iowa. And their trophy value, in my way of thinking, is not as high as one Rocky Mountain elk or a North Woods Canadian bull moose. So, well, let's get to planting. That's the size of the spreader. That's your 400 pounds of triple 13. That's what's required to plant this without a soil sample. It takes a lot of triple 13. I don't see a lot of guys using spreaders. They're using these little hand spreaders that are about, I don't know what you get in them, a few ounces of fertilizer. This is what it looks like right here. There's your 400 pounds of triple 13 in the spreader. Almost a complete full spreader. Think about it. 8 bags, 50-pound bags in there. That would be about your 1 acre. That spreader is empty. An acre is 43,530 square feet. Approximately a football field. 100 yards long, 50 yards wide. That'd be about that's right at an acre. So you can measure it off that way now. But that's the area right in here is what we covered. Would be an acre. It's 400 pounds, triple 13 for your power plant. You do an area down to 100 yards long by 50 yards wide. That's what this field is. So 100 yards to the front line, and I went about 50 yards wide. So just another tip on putting your fertilizer on. A lot of guys are putting it on, you're getting germination, but you're not getting the results that you're after. Okay, for you guys that were new to food plotting, you guys that are used to it, breakdowns are going to happen in the field. Luckily I got a backup shaft for this. Why this twisted, I have no idea. All I was doing putting fertilizer on with it. But a lot of this stuff now is made. You buy it at these farm and home stores. I got one word for it. Most of it's junk. And these spreaders, they don't last all that long. The bolts fall out of them. It's pretty pathetic. They get to shaking. But that, as you can see, you would be out of commission if you didn't have a backup shaft, power takeoff shaft. I mean, that just twisted that like it was. That'd put an end to your day. And then it's Sunday, like most of you are going to run into. And Saturdays ain't bad. You might run to a farm home store and buy it apart. Or you might be up a creek. And so just get used to that, because that's food plotting at its best. That's all that's left.
You marking where your corn is so you don't go over it with the beans.
Okay, what we got to do? We got the corn planted. Now we're gonna seed the beans. Now, if Deb's gonna ride the four-wheeler up here and show you what we're talking about, you got to level up that surface has to be flat without all the gullies. You can get away with that with the corn, but you can't get away with that with the power plant or the broadcasting the seed on beans on top of the ground, because you're going to have highs and lows. You're going to have too much dirt on some and not enough on the other. So you got to level that out. Now you can do that with a harrow, or you can keep disking it until it gets consistently level. But if you're going to broadcast beans, it has to be level. It can't be ridges and stuff as much as what's in the corn. The corn's in the ground, it'll come up through there. But we're going to take this apparatus up and level that out. A harrow or drag or anything would do the same thing. It's got to be level though, make sure, because when you plant it on the surface, you can't have a ridge this high and a dip, because when that melts down, it's going to cover up the seed that's in the low spot. So that's what we're going to do now.
You can see right here, I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's big old ridges and stuff there. Like almost a foot. You see that ridge that was like a foot deep, it's no longer there. So it really works good for straightening this out.
As you notice, I do a lot of tillage. The better the seed bed a food plotter can make it, the better chances his crop will succeed. A lot of you, and I'm not condemning, I'm just saying, when you've got marginable equipment, your tillage work needs to be more extensive, regardless what you got. Because you don't have the equipment to really get the soil turned over, and you're planting too soon on it. You cannot do too much tillage, loosening it up. I know, like I say, I know some of it, unfortunately, everybody doesn't have a tractor and a disc and all that. I understand that. But that works against the fruit plotter, because the light equipment does light tillage, and we're already got two hands behind us from the agriculture farmer with the huge equipment that he can turn his soil with. So if you didn't get the results that you're looking for in your fruit plots, number one is usually the tillage. It's done not in the best conditions. It's on a weekend, and when you get off, that's when you try to do. If you got too much moisture, it's going to work against you. It's going to pack down, and your tillage tool is not going to break that soil up. This is how you want your soil. Weed-free, tilled up deep, and then finished off on the top. It's real critical that you get that new form seed bed level before you broadcast your power plant or soybeans on. We're going to broadcast them on now, but you can't be broadcasting it on ground like this, because when you set the seed, which we're going to do after we put the seed on, you would have way too much dirt on some and not enough on others. Real critical. Get that seed bed uniform shaped up. No matter how you do it, with the drag, homemade drag, I don't care what you got, but make sure you got that smooth, not packed, but smooth, so when you put your seed on and you run back over it, you're going to get a uniform coverage. There's a real important tip. Try to get spare everything. You go down, we got a spare power takeoff shaft, PTO shaft. This one twisted. I have no reason why we would have been done today. Fortunately, I got 2 shafts. It's always nice to have a backup. A lot of you are not going to be able to do this, but you're going to enter this threshold. And if you do, don't worry about it. If you can't get a spring annual in, you can always come back in the fall. And that's most of what you want to hunt over anyhow, is a fall food spot. So you got time if something goes south on you. Don't stress out. Fish it like that. But I got 2 tractors on site, 2 discs. That old disc back there is an acid, perfectly fine. This disc would go down and can go with that, because you never know when you're out in the battle what's going to misfire on any given day. And like I said, if you don't get your spring plots in, basically they're a summer plot. You shouldn't be planting a fall plot anyway right now. That's way too early. Your fall plots are coming in August. Don't be planting radishes or stuff like that there. That's something you plant in the fall. These, the corn and the soybeans, are 2 late season crops that you got to get in to get them mature. We're going to go with the power plant along the edge. That's the summertime. High in protein, 42% in protein. That needs to go in now, but it cannot go in until it's 65 degrees night and day, basically, on the soil temperature. It hasn't been that. It's been a wet, cold spring here in Iowa. So we're not behind on anything. Farmers are planting, everybody's planting soybeans right now because the temperature is going to get in the 80s on a common. Let's get the spreader. Broadcast your beans on like I do, you want to run 30-40% more than what you would if you drilled them in. But you don't have a drill. I got the planter cups for the planter, but that's a 38-inch row. So I'd have to crisscross it and all that stuff to get the population that I want. Because if I had a drill, I'd dump them in a drill. But without the drill, you want to run at least 30% more. So we got 6 bags in there. That's 300 pounds of beans. But like I said earlier this morning, everybody has a way of getting rid of their money. This tip will save you a lot of time and money down the road. When you put urea or any kind of fertilizer on this metal stuff, that fertilizer is corrosive. Make sure you get that tub washed out, all that mechanism washed out the same day you use it, and get oil on it so it won't start to corrode. Hear that? Or everything that's shiny on there will become rust. See all that shiny down in there? That'll be rusted out. Next time you go to use it, it'll be junk. Okay, I hand seed the power plant because I get it in areas that the big tractor won't. Plus, it wouldn't last long. What do we got there? Oh, I don't know how many pounds is in that bag. I should.
25 pounds.
How many?
25.
Yeah, 25 pounds. So you have 50 pounds. That would spit that out so fast. Best way to do it is with the hand crank spreader. That way you can put it where you want it, and you can get more mileage out of it. All right, let's get it cranked on. Day's getting late.
this is the last step?
Yeah, this is the last step. You need to cover that power plant and those beams. Doesn't do any good to colipact them because they need to have dirt on top of them. That'll keep the predation of the bird life from getting them also. You're not going to bury them all, but you get an inch of dirt over the top of them. That's cool, and that's why you critique that field. Make it as flat as you can prior to seeding. Because if you go up there now and you try to smooth it out, you'd have dirt this high and you'd be burying the seed way too deep. Right now we got a uniform seed bed. We can run this over, incorporate it into the dirt, get some dirt on top of it. Because the small seed like clover, it just presses in with the colopactor. Today we don't need the colopactor. We need to cover the seed slightly. Alright, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's how the non-typical Norwakian goes about trying to get tonnage. It takes money, it takes time, it takes equipment. And that's what brings me back to this subject. As doping scandals grow, could Russia get Olympic boot? If you're an athlete and you're taking dope, you're going to get expelled from the Olympics. That's what my thought is on all this dope deer. Would it be easier to go shake something on the ground and bring deer in? Yeah, it'd be a hell of a lot cheaper too. But like I said earlier in another video, we banned athletes for taking steroids and growth enhancements. And here it is. This is a brand new newspaper. Probably 3 days old, talking about banning people on dope. In my way of thinking, that's the same thing when you dump dope on the ground. I don't care what your thoughts are, that's mine. Do whatever you want to do, go ahead and do it. But down the road, you know, somebody's going to pay the fiddler. Grow them the food, that's the way Mother Nature does it. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to kill a damn thing but time. So, hope you're the most success with your food plot ventures for 2016. We'll be back and do the fall preps for the fall ones later in August. So that's it from the non-typical Norwakian. I'm dirty, I'm tired, and I'm broke, but I'm happy. See you down the road.